break this like I broke the one last night, Bill. I introduce today's last reader, Bill Trowbridge. I was privileged to work with Bill at the final thesis semester at UNO, a semester I probably wouldn't have finished without his dedication and guidance. He was a somewhat intimidating presence to a young poet, and upon receiving my first packet he wrote, "You've raised my already high expectations, so don't mess it up." No pressure, though. It was this attitude, the idea that success means changing the bar, that drove me into the most rewarding semester of my time in the program. Indeed, it seems this attitude has driven Bill's impressive career as a poet. Author of collections Put This On, Please, New and Selected Poems, Ship of Fool, The Complete Book of Kong, Flickers, Old Paradise, Enter Dark Stranger, Old Guy Superhero, and his newest, Vanishing Point. Bill's work stands as a testament to the flexibility of the modern poem. His ability to bridge and blend the realms of the imaginative and realistic is something to be truly appreciated. And Bill is appreciated by myself, readers, and students everywhere. Let's share in that appreciation, and welcome to Wayne State, former Poet Laureate of the state of Missouri, Mr. Bill Trowbridge.
Put it down for a short guy now.
Short old guy.
You did very good. I think you broke it.
It's Tom Limp. Oh, I guess I did.
Oh, well, don't say that to an old guy. Yeah, okay, all right, can you hear me? All right, it's okay, all right, okay. Oh, and thank you, Zach, and thank you, Chad, and thank you all for coming. I'm going to spend my time reading you poems from a graphic poetry chapbook. You've heard of the graphic novel. I am breaking new ground, putting graphics into poetry, and got a wonderful illustrator to do my book, Old Guy Superhero. And I got my publisher, Red Hen Press, to study comic books and to make sure this came out looking exactly like a comic book, including getting a printer who exclusively prints comic books, so it feels like a comic book and it looks like a comic book, and yet it's poetry. So there you are. I got the idea for this looking at all the superhero stuff that's popping up now in comic books and video games and all over the place. And I noticed, without taking too much time, that there was a blank spot in the superhero universe, because all of the superheroes up until Old Guy were disturbingly young. And I thought there's got to be a place for an old guy in the superhero universe. So I wrote a poem called Old Guy Superhero, and one thing led to another, and I thought maybe we could do some illustrations and have this thing come out like it did, and so it did. So I will start out with the original poem, Old Guy Superhero. Old guy superhero feels like a young guy in a bad costume. The arms and legs sag, and the waist too tight. Or there should be a large S, golden star, or lightning bolt. There's what looks like a zero. And on his trunks, depends. The boots look more like flannel slippers. Some lout's made off with his super hearing and x-ray vision, leaving only an ampli ear and Coke bottle lenses. Like certain sheep, he doesn't fly so much as plummet. He hasn't smashed through a good wall or door since before he can remember, which is a little after breakfast. Speeding bullets and tall buildings must now be turtles and molehills. He has no fear of an erection lasting more than 4 hours. But he's depressed and often flatulent. His best tactic, the long wait, accounts for the demise of many a foe. That, or rambling on and on and on and on, which can paralyze from as far as 10 feet. He's not handsome like Clark Kent or rich like Bruce Wayne, but in the prolonged run, he can be a deadly opponent if he doesn't mix you up with someone else. That poem led to this. Old guy, superhero, counter-terrorist. Old guy's in line for his Social Security check when a man enters carrying a gun and wearing a suicide vest. Though people start to scream, old guy continues dog paddling through the shallows of his memory till the terrorist, noticing his scarlet cape and blank expression, shoves the gun in his face and asks how it feels to face certain death. Same as usual, says old guy, mistaking the threat for a rare show of interest, which prompts him to dust off his 5 examples of why everything's gone to goddamn hell since Truman fired Custer. After a while, the terrorist's eyelids droop, and he slumps into a nearby chair, snoring. When the gun drops to the floor, old guy politely retrieves it just as the SWAT team bursts in. "How did you do it, old guy?" asks the press. "Glue what?" he says. Okay, every superhero has to have a supermobile of some kind, right? Batman's got the Batmobile, and Aquaman has the Watermobile, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, old guy has the old guy mobile. So this poem is called Old Guy Superhero Top Eliminator. Old guy goes looking for adventure in the old guy mobile, a refurbished Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile, acquired by agreeing to take it off the owner's hands. He's repainted it marine green with lightning bolts that wobble across the Wiener's sides. The horn, when it works, plays what sounds like a kazoo band version of I Wish I Was an Oscar Mayer Wiener. Sadly, the helmet old guy mounted on the Wiener's front makes it resemble a half-erect penis. Unfazed by the ensuing catcalls, old guy guns his engine as he and a Stingray guy pull up to a red light. He remembers driving the young guy mobile, 426 Hemi, supercharged, chopped and Frenched, ground Quaker, babe waker, heartbreaker to all takers. When the light flashes green, he spills hot thermos coffee down his crotch, causing him to swerve into the Stingray, which accelerates into a sewage truck. "Feel lucky now, punk?" says old guy, lurching off on his horn's melodious lilt. Old guy superhero, steady hand. When old guy spots an old lady waiting for the light to change, he steps up and gently takes her arm. On green, he helps her off the curb and into the street, remembering his Boy Scout days when he earned all the merit badges in a day and invented some new ones: missile interception, boulder shattering, volcano stoppering, elephant bench pressing. All the Girl Scouts wanted to camp out with him, stitch up a lanyard or two, explore the more. Off he'd go to thwart the latest megalomaniac or suck the air from another hurricane. He needed a silo to hold his medals. Now, after he gets the old lady across the street, she pats his hand and asks, "Do you need more help?" Of course, superheroes have to have super enemies, and you all remember the Blob, I hope, or have heard about the Blob, that thing that Steve McQueen was always chasing around, Steve McQueen and the kids. Old guy superhero versus the Blob. The Blob's digesting a movie audience downtown while the SWAT team, waiting on the army, lurks behind a dumpster. When the Blob spots old guy strolling in his red cape, house slippers, and myriad wrinkles, he looks indigestible. It wonders if he's part of some new strategy. Cautiously, it blocks old guy's path, then nudges his right slipper to get his full attention, and, it assumes, send him screaming helter-skelter down the street like all the others. Nothing. The Blob feels an unfamiliar dizziness. It tries the other slipper, its stomach now queasy. When it raises itself to attack height, it touches an overhead power line, lethal even to Blobs. Looking at the heap of smoldering remains, old guy says to an admiring cop, "Smells like victory." Old guy superhero associate. You know, that's what they call you if you work for Walmart, because they don't pay you shit. They make you an associate and makes you feel like, oh, I must be a partner. I must be like, you know, Sam Walton and me. Old guy superhero associate. Old guy gets a job as a greeter at Walmart. Where he wears a blue vest with how may I help you on the back, and a smiley face button on the front. If things go well, he can add a gold star pin with "Management appreciates me" across it, or a comet with "Awesome job" on its tail. But most customers don't want to be greeted. Some balk at having even strangers see them shopping there. One woman smacks him with her purse, so he tones it down to a nod and a wink. But a burly guy thinks he's touting blowjobs and shoves him into a DVD display. Old guy, to keep his identity secret, opts not to strip to his superhero garb. He finds greeting to be harder than it was to stop Rodan from flash frying Dubuque. When he tries just to look good-natured, management decides he's become a liability, a worthless senior trying to take advantage of an American job producer. To get him out, guards take each arm and, grinning, tell him he's going to meet Mr. Walmart. It's turned cold, and the raindrops sting. This next one, I have to give you a little coaching on. There is a shrub that is very important, like a bush, you know, a shrub, like in Monty Python. The knights who say "ni," you must bring them a shrub to keep them from saying "ni" at you all the time. Missed that illusion? Okay, it's a shrub. It's important in the beginning of the poem and also at the end of the poem, so be prepared. Old guy superhero undercover. On patrol in the city one evening, old guy stops to relieve himself on an out-of-the-way shrub, which is actually an in-the-way poodle, walked by a local matron, who immediately summons the police. Arrested for indecent exposure, old guy thinks he's to infiltrate the indecent other occupants in the police van and expose any upcoming plots. To gain their confidence, he says he's just iced a Meals on Wheels lady. They report this to the officers in front, hoping to earn reduced sentences. Locked up in max security, old guy confides to a janitor he mistakes for a uniformed contact that he's in with the indecents, that the go signal will be 2 longs and a short. The janitor contacts the city paper, informing them the police are mistreating a harmless old loony. To prevent a PR disaster, the chief has the charges dismissed and, as cameras flash, presents old guy with a gold plaque, naming him a senior posse member. In the front page photo, old guy can be seen sizing up a shrub-shaped floral display. Old guy superhero versus the Riddler. I hope you all know who the Riddler is, right, from Batman. He makes riddles, and that's what he loves to do. The Riddler plans to blow up Hoover Dam unless old guy can tell him what has many keys but can't open a single lock. My Uncle Fred, says old guy, he couldn't tell his ass from his front door. The Riddler says that may be technically correct, but the best answer is a keyboard. Well, that too, I guess, old guy replies. The Riddler thinks old guy's answer has taken the crispness out of the riddle. Let's try another, he says. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? That'd be Uncle Fred for sure, says old guy. After he drank that fifth of Everclear, he turned mostly yellow, but he did sound like a parrot. The Riddler decides to have one more try, asking how the number 4 can be half of 5. Sounds like Fred trying to count up his canasta points, answers old guy. Reddening, the Riddler tells him that he shouldn't keep giving the same answer for every riddle. Maybe, says old guy, but you're the fellow asking the ones about Uncle Fred. When the Riddler asks if old guy thinks he can do any better, old guy says, okay, what has 3 heads and hops like a kangaroo? The Riddler applies his genius mind, and to no avail. After 10 minutes, he asks old guy the answer. No idea, says old guy. The Riddler says you can't pose riddles that have no answers. Old guy, okay, old guy says, what do you think of this? What do you think this does? Firing his Beta X-22 kinetic gizmoid, which turns the Riddler into a 2-inch replica of Uncle Fred. Superheroes have to have a nemesis, and of course, old guy's nemesis must be Death, who now, thanks to Ingmar Bergman, has to carry a portable chess set as well as his scythe when he's in his proper uniform. This is the second of his encounter with his nemesis. Old guy wakes up from a noonday snooze to find Death once more setting up his chess set, offering old guy the choice of white or black. Black, mutters old guy. Revealing choice, grins Death. Means you've been depressed. As well you should be. Reeling off a list of famous suicides. Socrates, Cleopatra, Dudu Topaz. Death says that he'd like to join the club if he didn't have to be Death. He explains committing suicide would be like kissing himself on the forehead. Impossible. There'll be a breeze for old guy, who says he couldn't kiss himself like that either. No, says Death, I mean a breeze to kill yourself. He adds, there's a banquet of methods, many of them not all that painful or messy. Why don't you try shooting yourself in the forehead, old guy suggests. Death counters that Death's death is an ontological impossibility. The kissing thing was just a metaphor. How would you do it with a semaphore, asks old guy. Death, okay. Death snaps, excuse me, I lost my place. Old guy asked, okay. I said, metaphor, snaps Death. Maybe if you sharpened it, old guy says. No, no, shouts Death. Metaphor, metaphor. Still, old guy continues. That'd make quite a mess with that flag jamming things up. Death declares he didn't come all this way to talk about his goddamn suicide, that he didn't ask for this shit job where everybody hates you and all you do is go around creeping people out, you're causing memory for no reason at all. I could have been a dancer if you'd like to know, he sobs. But dance of death, right? Try to get an agent to hang on to that. He rakes the chips off the, he rakes the chess pieces into a bag, folds it up, and clatters out. How about trying one of them plastic bags over your head, old guy suggests. I'll do just one more. Old guy shuffles down memory lane. Some of these aren't in the old guy book. There's the beginnings, I think, of volume 2 of old guy, and some of these are from that, or pretty new. Old guy superhero shuffles down memory lane. Back home, after a few tokes, he'll sometimes put up his dogs and thumb through his album of photos when he was young guy superhero. There's newly born young guy sitting up to speed babble all of a womb-absorbed Moby Dick to his dozing nursery ward peers. Infant young guys designing Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis on his Uncle Wiggily high chair table after a noon bottle and a flight around the room. At show and tell, he lectures the kindergartners on Schopenhauer's The World of Will and Idea, translating from the German. There were no questions. For junior high prom, he's flown in Artie Shaw and his big band from L.A. They watch amazed as young guy outshines Shaw with a tonette solo. In the season-ending football game, young guy unloads a long bomb to himself for the final score as Smallville High defeats Farmville 436-6. At the Princeton Institute for Advanced Study, young guy and Einstein share equations during their dart game at a local pub. He let Einstein win. Young guy studies for his first adult case, preventing the Nazis from manufacturing uranium-235. On their final try, they wound up with a quart of tapioca pudding. Old guy wonders if he was ever that tall, brainy, and wrinkle-free. And the flying, was it a dream? Nodding off, he lets the album slide to the floor. Thank you.
It's time for the benediction, all rise. All right, that's it. Let's put your hands together for all the readers today. Thank you guys so much for coming and reading it. Tonight, Slam 36, I believe. Oh boy, I think that's right. Starts at 7 o'clock down at the Max Bar and Grill. If you want to participate, try to get down there around 6. Sign up, $5 for poems.